Welcome to another game of Essen, and here we have Badknight versus Test. So Test is on Temur Temple, and Badknight is on Mono Red Burn. And this is going to be an extremely unfortunate matchup for Badknight because Temur Temple eats burn decks for breakfast. That's basically the nicest way of putting it. And Test even opens up with Cosmic Cinco and Veilbore Meddler, especially Veilbore Meddler, which is extremely good against all of Burn's 1-drops. Anyways, Badknight leads off with Mad Companion, and Test can just Cosmic Cinco this thing. And yeah, that's why Test being on the play is so good here, because they managed to get the turn 1 Cosmic Cinco on the opponent's 1-drop. And now Test gets a follow-up with turn 2 Veilbore Meddler on a second 1-drop. Badknight needs to draw land here in order to play RickyRister turn 2. Even then, they're still not out of the woods yet. I think the smart play here is to just orchestrate Storm Surge and make Test waste mana. No, they're going to try to run out Zero Vicia, and it's going to get countered by Veilborn. So yeah, Badknight should have definitely orchestrated Storm Surge there, because orchestrating it can't be countered, so you spend mana on your turn and make your opponent waste counterspell mana. Instead, Test just gets turn 2 Veilborn Meddler, and now they get turn 3 Portal Fracture, and I don't really see how... Oh, they get another Cosmic Cinco. Yeah, I think Badknight is just screwed here. Badknight not drawing the second land is sort of unfortunate because they could have tried to slam turn 2 RickyRister if they drew the land, which gets around Veilbore Meddler, but not Portal Fracture. I think either ways Test was in a really good situation this game, and they're probably just... I don't think there was anything Badknight could have done here. And now they orchestrate the Storm Surge, which does waste Test's mana somewhat, but Veilbore Meddler is already in play. And now Test gets to end of turn Bounty of the Gardens for 3. And now they're beating down for 5 damage a turn, so Badknight is under pressure to end the game soon, which they're not really able to. Now Test swings in for 5 damage with their creatures and passes, holding up 2 counter spells. And if Badknight doesn't do anything, then Test can just end of turn Cane Dancer back to Bounty and swing in for even more damage next turn. And Badknight still doesn't draw their second land, so yeah, quite unfortunate. I think Test is just going to counter both of these spells, because they can definitely afford to do that right now. Especially since Badknight's stuck on 1 land, so Cosmic Cinco basically works as a 1-mana counter spell. So Test fetches Frostfire Geysers. Then they go Cosmic Cinco on the Scorch, getting a counter on Veilbore Meddler. And then Portal Fracture on the Storm Surge, getting the counter on Veilbore, and yeah, Badknight just concedes there because they see that they have no way out. So looking at the sideboard, Test can just bring in even more Solar Flares and Chaldrain's Rage too, because Badknight's deck is pretty creature-based. Sun Conditions might be decent, but probably not. I think you just bring in Spell Pierce, Solar Flare, and Chaldrains. You're already so good against Burn anyways. And meanwhile, with Badknight, they don't actually have that many good options. They have Confront the Real Master, which is, I guess, a card that's specifically for this matchup, but it's not even that good in this matchup because, well, either ways... Game 2 has started, and Test has a hand that has more lands this time, and Confront the Real Master. I mean, they're probably keeping this, but might not get there. And Test, meanwhile, has a hand with Veilbore Meddler and Solar Flare, so they're also super advantaged right now. Badknight at least gets to start off with a 1-drop this turn, because they're on the play, so they don't have to worry about turn 1 Cosmic Cinco. Test draws another Portal Fracture. I think Test can just spend turn 1 playing Timber Range tapped and save some life. Badknight doesn't actually have a good follow-up next turn if they don't draw anything. I think the best draw for Badknight right now would be just RickyRister, but they draw another land, which is quite unfortunate. So they can play on Seething Flames and then nothing else. So on Seething Flames deals 2 damage and shuffles 3 copies in. And Badknight passes with 1 mana up, so yeah, quite unfortunate for a burn deck. And now Test gets a Veilbore Meddler, and they also have 2 Portal Fractures in case Badknight draws a 2-drop or something. They instead just draw an Unjust Sentence, so yeah, not a very good draw. I mean, it's not the worst draw because at least it's better than a land, but you kind of want a creature right now, or really just anything that costs more than 1, because 1-drops just run into Veilbore Meddler. Badknight's still going to go for it because they have nothing better to do, and this is going to gladly Veilbore Meddler this 1-cost spell. Well, at least Badknight gets to Confront the Real Master this turn, but that doesn't really help, because all that really does is... It does 1 more damage than that Bolt, I guess. But it still costs a card, so really... And if this Confront the Real Master was a burn spell or something, it still would have done basically the same thing, because Test already used 1 of their counter spells. And anyways, so on Test's turn, they can Solar Flare the Banished Companion, and I think that probably just prevents Badknight from really doing anything. They are going to pass. I guess hold up Solar Flare Banished Companion. or Pearl Factor on something else, or just Veilboard Meddler on the Scorch. Badknight should probably attack first, so that Veilboard Meddler doesn't get the counter from, yeah. And Tess decides to Solar Flare the Banished Companion now, getting a counter on Veilboard Meddler, and gaining 3 life. Now Badknight gets to decide between Scorching Veilboard Meddler or Face. They decide to Scorch Face, which is probably the right decision because they're not going to win by trying to control the board at this point. And Tess draws another Cosmic Sinkhole. Yeah, Tess has been getting a really good draw against Burn these 2 games, drawing all of their Veilboard Meddlers and Cosmic Sinkholes, and even Solar Flares and Portal Fractures. Perhaps Badknight shouldn't have kept their hand this game. They needed to be a bit more risky because such a slow hand isn't that good against Temur Tempo, which is a matchup that you basically need to high roll in order to win. But I guess Badknight probably just isn't that familiar with the format yet, so they just kept a safe-ish slow hand and lost to Temur Tempo doing what it does best against burn decks. Now that Badknight has nothing in hand, Tess is just going to throw all of their stuff end of turn, and well, they don't have lethal just yet, but they're 1 away from lethal. And I dealt Badknight. Actually, Tess is down to 7 life. Well, it's not like Badknight can really win here because Burn basically caps out at 3 damage per card, and they're only going to draw 1 more card, so yeah. And Badknight draws another land. So not only did they get a really unfortunate land-heavy draw that game, not that being such a dog against Temur Tempo really helped there, but yeah, I think this matchup played out about as I expected, although a bit more unfortunate on the Burn player's side, and a bit more fortunate on the Temur Tempo player's side, but yeah, Temur Tempo beats up Burn yet again.